The Nintendo Switch 2 is 4 months old, and I kind of wanted to make a video just discussing the entire process of it all, and whether or not it's been good or bad. So let's start on June 5th, when the console released. It released to universal acclaim, selling over 3.5 million units in just 4 days, which is incredibly high. That is a lot, bro. That is a lot of units sold. And I think by the end of June, it sold over 5 million, which is still freaking ridiculous. That is an unbelievable amount. And I remember thinking a few things when the console came out. I was, on one hand, it's kind of surreal going through a console launch as an adult because I just turned, bro, when the Switch 1 came out, I was like 12 years old. It was actually insane. But with the Switch 2, I'm legit. I've graduated post-secondary. It's just, you're in such a different place in life. In the span of 8 years, and it's insane. And it almost, you know what, the Switch 2 is definitely an upgrade over the Switch 1. I know that a lot of people haven't bit the bullet yet and got it simply because it just feels like a Switch 1.5, but I can honestly tell you that I've owned it ever since launch, and I've had nothing but a great time with it. And I wholeheartedly believe that this is a genuinely worthwhile upgrade. It doesn't feel like a Switch 1.5 to me. Now, it did feel like that when it came out. Like I said, Mario Kart World definitely felt more like, it just felt a lot more disappointing. I jumped the gun and I made a video calling it a masterpiece like a day after, and I'm just, bro, it was such a that aged so poorly because the game is nowhere near that. It is so early in Mario Kart World's life to the point where I wanted to take down the video, bro, because it's simply not true, but we'll get to that later. So, of course, it had a very strong launch. The Switch 2 was selling out ridiculous amounts, like it was probably sold out for the first month, and stock kind of came back about a month later into July, into August. You can probably, and get to the point where now you could probably go to a store and you could easily find a Switch 2. Like, if you want one, you can easily find one. And I think a lot of people, including myself, chopped it up to the Switch 2 not being as successful, or it's just dying, and I don't believe that's the case. I honestly think Nintendo figured out their stock issues, and that is awesome. As someone that went through the Amiibo craze where everything was sold out, it's very, very nice that Nintendo has figured it out, especially for their hardware. Like, I get it, toys are a little different. Like, the Amiibos were a little different, but having the Switch 2 console, like your console actually being readily available, that is a great thing. That is a very good thing. And anyone that wants one can hopefully get one, especially now with Pokemon Legends ZA coming out and a whole new Switch 2 bundle. You bet it's going to be stocked well. Now, for the first 4 months of the Switch 2, the most important part of any Nintendo console is exclusives. Like, what do you have to offer? What makes your console worthwhile? And, of course, Mario Kart World was highly anticipated, and a lot of people say that Donkey Kong Bonanza should have been the launch title. I wholeheartedly disagree with that, because Mario Kart World, let's face it, is the more cooked game of the two, but Bonanza is by far a better game than Mario Kart World. So Nintendo wanted to sell Mario Kart World, and they did a freaking great job. It has 5 million, it's sold over 5 million copies, and probably closer to maybe 6, or I think it's gonna be about 8. When Nintendo does their financial report at the end of October, I'm 99% sure we're gonna get some crazy sales figure, probably over 8 million. Whatever the Switch 2 is sold, I'm pretty sure Mario Kart World is not lagging far behind. So, yeah, but at launch, it felt like Mario Kart World left a lot to be desired, because it didn't really scratch that itch that a lot of people like myself were expecting. I was hoping for a game that would be, you know, kind of like a masterpiece, like Bonanza is. So, thankfully, we didn't have to wait long for Bonanza to come out, and of course, Bonanza comes out. It is incredible. Oh my gosh, what a game that is. I cannot believe that Donkey Kong, of all characters, bro, Donkey Kong was capable of generating like something like that. And I was kind of worried ever since the redesign. I felt that it was going to, there were going to be some problems, especially considering this game was also being criticized for its price point, which was 70 USD. And honestly, I don't mind the price for a game like that. Mario Kart World being $80 makes no sense to me. To this day, it makes absolutely no sense why this game was $80. I mean, I don't care personally because I got the bundle and it was 50, or you know what, 70 Canadian, which is obviously, it's a great deal because Canadian games that are in Canada usually costed 80 during the Switch era. So getting it for $30 off, pretty freaking sweet, man. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty sweet. So yeah, again, I don't understand why it's $80. But, of course, Bonanza comes out. It just smashes every frickin' review, bro. It was absolutely incredible seeing the Switch 2 finally see some actual positive PR. It's insane that it took over a month and a half for it to actually receive that. But, obviously, Bonanza comes out. It's a smash hit. And we don't know what the Bonanza effect is going to be. We don't know if it's going to help push the Switch 2 to a different stratosphere here in terms of sales, but a lot of people have been making very negative videos, and that came after the Nintendo Direct that happened on September 12th, 2025, and holy damn, there were so many videos in my recommended of people just ripping Nintendo to shreds. And to be completely honest with you, my view on the Nintendo Direct is it wasn't bad. It was actually it was pretty solid. It was a solid Nintendo Direct, but that's not what Nintendo needed. Your console just came out. This Direct was over an hour long, the longest Nintendo Direct that has ever happened. The longest general one outside of like the Switch 1 and 2 showcase. You guys know what I mean. But you needed one announcement. You needed an absolute banger of an announcement, and it just didn't come. I'm sorry, Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 is not up there, man. It just isn't. And I've heard a lot of different viewpoints. Some people actually said that the Mario Galaxy movie announcement was the most hype announcement in the entire Nintendo Direct. And to be completely honest with you, I honestly thought Galaxy 1 and 2 was the biggest announcement, but after I think about it, to be completely honest with you, is it? It's just 2 Wii games being ported to the Switch. It really isn't as crazy as I thought. And I think that's just because Nintendo's desensitized me with their old content, bro. They love to wait as long as possible. They take down the emulation stuff, and then they, like, frickin' they starve you for it until a Nintendo anniversary. And then, of course, they ruin it with the prices. We'll get to that. But yeah, I mean, honestly, the movie was probably the biggest announcement, and for a direct or a presentation about video games, that is not okay, bro. That is not okay. We got an announcement for a weird random Pokemon game. We got ZA DLC. We got a Mario Tennis game, which it should have been baseball, but of course they didn't want to do that. There was a whole bunch of stuff that they announced. And at the end of the Direct, when we were expecting the biggest of announcements, and I'm not a Fire Emblem hater, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not a Fire Emblem hater, I was very mixed on that announcement. In my personal opinion, I do believe that Nintendo should have put the 40th anniversary Mario stuff at the ending, so that people probably wouldn't complain that much if the Nintendo Direct had that as the end, because then it would have been like, okay, it's a bit of a banger. Fire Emblem is fairly niche. I'm not saying that it's bad. I was happy that people that like that type of game were getting their Switch 2 entry. I think that is a very good thing that Nintendo is giving Fire Emblem the respect it deserves. Maybe too many characters in Smash Brothers, but that's besides the point. I feel like Nintendo needed that huge announcement, that 3D Mario, that maybe Smash Brothers type of game, or something that would make everyone kind of forget that this is a huge investment. That again, the biggest thing about the Nintendo Switch 2 is the price, and what would get people to stop talking about that? Games, huge announcement, all of that, and they just simply did not deliver. Now, we did get a new Yoshi game, which that's awesome. It's probably not going to change a lot of people's perception on the Switch 2, and that's unfortunate. It's rather unfortunate. Now, the Direct is the smallest part of the puzzle because Nintendo, or the Switch 2, is heading into its first holiday season. Now, what games do we have heading into the holidays? Of course, we've got Pokemon Legends ZA, which comes out actually tonight, as I'm recording. It's 7:06 p.m. on October 15th, and that's going to be a huge game. Now, I'm not a huge fan of how they announced DLC in that Nintendo Direct for it. I don't understand why they've announced DLC before the game even came out. Now, I know that it was probably going to get DLC, but again, just didn't make any sense to me. It still doesn't make any sense to me, but regardless, we've got a huge Pokemon game coming out. We've got Metroid Prime 4 Beyond coming out in December, which is a huge release. I don't care what anybody says. That is a huge release for the Nintendo Switch 2. That game has been, 8 years in the making. I'm very excited to see how that does. I'm probably not going to get it, to be honest with you. It's not really my cup of tea, but it's definitely going to help push Switch 2 sales, which should be a good thing for people that did buy this console. Now, what was the other game? Oh yeah, Kirby Air Riders coming out November 20th. I am so very excited for that. Can't believe I forgot about that. I'm so very excited for Kirby Air Riders. It's a Sakurai's dream game, and I'm genuinely so excited to see what that game is going to look like. I'm hoping that it does well. Like, realistically, I really do hope that it does well, because it definitely has a lot of that Smash Brothers flair to it. I watched that Nintendo Direct, the Kirby Air Riders Direct, and it really just screamed Smash Brothers to me, and I love that because... And it screamed more like Smash 4, which, again, that's the game I grew up with, and I'm so excited to pick that up. I think I'm going to get that launch day, to be honest with you. But honestly, I'm very excited that we just have stuff to look forward to. We've got a whole new console. We've got all of this. Maybe we'll get some Black Friday sales. That would be absolutely spectacular. I'll tell you that, bro. I would absolutely love if people that were on the fence about it would be like, you know what, I'm gonna get this because it's actually on sale. It's at a good price. It's bundled with a game that I want. Mario Kart World finally got some updates that makes it worth it. Or Pokemon Legends ZA is an absolute masterpiece. It's going to be a game that I am going to want to play with the best hardware possible. I'm just hoping for something to happen that's going to turn this negative tide in regards to the Switch 2. And is it going to come? I don't know. The more games that come out, the more worth it the Switch 2 becomes. And right now, the only people that I think have it are hardcore Nintendo fans. And I don't think you've sold the average consumer. And Nintendo Switch 2 might be selling well right now, but is it going to maintain that? Because you got to maintain the Switch 2's success, because obviously it sold ridiculously well in the first launch window, and that was simply because it was a very highly sought after product. Is it going to be highly sought after after a year? I don't know. And it's up to Nintendo, and we've got that first quarter Nintendo Direct coming in a bit. We've got a whole bunch of spring games. We've got a new Pokemon. We've got Generation 10 coming next year. It's been leaked. I don't know. But we've got a whole lot to look forward to and a whole lot of unanswered questions. I will make a follow-up video once Nintendo puts out their financial reportings, like when they go over the official sales of the Switch 2, how it's sold over the past quarter, because it's definitely going to be interesting seeing if the Nintendo Switch 2 has managed to keep up with the hype, with the demand, with all of that, bro. We've got a Game of the Year candidate that came out. We don't even know how well Bonanza sold. It's going to be interesting. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of the Switch 2. If you have it, if you don't, whatever. Let me know what you guys think of the Switch 2. Are you thinking of picking it up this holiday season, or are you not? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out, everybody.